Hello. How are you doing, folks? Hope you are doing well. All right, let's get ready. And I'm sharing the wrong screen. I love it. There we go. How are you doing today? We are live. Can you hear me well? Let me just share a quick link towards everything on LinkedIn. Let's just do a quick. There we go. Sorry about that. Very cinematic lighting today. Yeah, let me adjust it. Sorry, I'm looking like trash right now. I'm going to remove the camera. Nobody gives a shit about my face. There we go. Just back from the gym. I'm still sweating and all of that. I'm looking like trash at the moment. Hope you are doing well. Today is going to be a bit more straightforward than last time. I'm solo today. It's probably very early for Dave. And I'm a bit lacking in terms of time today, so it's going to be maximum 2 hours. So yeah, hope you are doing well. Today we are reviewing more portfolios. I picked a few from the submission. Thanks a lot. Let's go. Just some quick announcement before. Next week there won't be a live because I'm in Denmark. I'm a speaker at a kind of art organized by Mood Visuals. So if you are there, let's hang out together and let's meet. It's going to be nice. I'm going to make a crazy presentation about crafting a portfolio for jobs. And that presentation, I'm going to redo it once I'm back from Copenhagen in the next live. So not next Friday, but the Friday after. So it's going to be absolute fire. It's going to be quite interesting, I think. So let's go. Let's get started. Hope you are doing well. Hope the work is done well on your side. We are done with September's class for the mentorship. And it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been so good. And now we're starting building portfolios. All right, so I picked a few submissions. As always, I cannot review everyone. So I picked a few. And it's safe to expect that I will start repeating myself eventually. But that's fine. That's fine. That's how we learn. So let's start with Varun A. Let me read the description that has been provided. I'm a fresh graduate from the Meiji Institute in Singapore. I've mostly been learning on my own, watching videos like Fenzu and Tyler Edlin on YouTube like crazy. Very good. I'm currently working on my personal world building project, Varathia, which is a medieval fantasy with some ancient technology like musket. My goal for the industry are to work for Lian Studio, id Software. As a concept artist, I also love D&D and Doom. It's a bit tough to mix D&D and Doom overall, unless you really go into that very muscular, old school musket and such. It's probably possible to mix both. But it's quite an impressive jump between both. So yeah, no problem. I believe something I'm struggling with are creating an effective design, and I like presentation skills. Presentation, we talked about that last time, so there's no need to reiterate too much about that. We did a live about that. Presentation is very important. It's going to elevate the perceived value of your work. Right there, it's not too bad, but it's not the best. You see, like this kind of very digital sketch, for example, I would not show it in a portfolio. Varun is there. Oh, amazing. Amazing. So let's have a quick look. First of all, ArtStation page, easy to navigate. There's not that much things. The miniatures are kind of obvious. I will adjust the framing of certain things, like for example, that card. You see right there that that part is not very useful overall. And as always, let me just put the text. Those are the questions that I'm always reviewing portfolio with. There we go. Let me put them, whatever. Let me keep them right here. So those questions are always the same. Can the 3D team model your content without having to guess what they have to do? So this is your ability to provide them with clear designs. Can you iterate easily with drastically different proposals? So this is your ability to give the art directors a lot of choices so they can choose the best and they are not defaulting to one proposal. And does your work match the studios you are aiming at? Oh my God, I completely fucked up that question. Oh my God, I don't know what to write. I apologize. Let me adjust. Does your work match what the studios you are aiming at are doing? No, it's just the question is a bit twisted. Okay. And portfolio UX and presentation paging. All right. So right now, when I see that, if I was an art director, I would be like, okay, this is full 3D. Where is the drawing? I want to see where is the drawing. And when I see that, I will be like, again, I'm not being mean, I'm being acting like an art director that is busy and playing devil's advocate. If I see that, I'm like, is it the best that you can do when it comes to drawing? If that's the case, that might be a concern. You need to remember that you are only as good as your best pieces. And this is very important that you make sure your work is very, how can I say, steady in terms of quality, very regular, very consistent. Because as soon as you have a piece that is a bit less polished, it might tank your application. They will be like, oh, this is what this person is doing in their bad days because they are sick, not inspired. 1 week away from vacation, they got a bad news. Whatever the reason, it happens. Creativity is not a fluid and stable process. It's very changing. Still, they want that your worst piece remain above what they do in terms of expectations. So be very careful when showing some sketches like that. Ask yourself, does it bring something to the table? Does it bring extra information that we did not have before? If that's the case, yes. Okay, why not? Let's put it. The second thing is it consistent in terms of style and quality with the rest that I'm having in my portfolio? When it comes to design right now, what's about the person living there? Right now, I understand this is a forge. Okay. What are they forging? I assume weapon. What is it special about those weapons? I don't know. What is it special about the person living there using that forge? What is their specialty? What is their personality? I don't really know. To me, this is a bit what Feng Zhu described as an IKEA room. It's too clean. And we are just lacking one extra layer of information. So this piece to me is entirely salvageable. It's just that we need to get back to it and add an entire new pass of detail. You have the big, that corresponds to what it is, what is the structure and all of that. This is fine. Then you have the medium, how does it work? What is the function of that place? So the crucible, the forging, the anvil, the tongs and such. Then the small detail. What is it specific about that place? Are they forging a specific metal? What is specific about the person living there? And so on and so on. Very important. Let me show you an example. Let me show you the example, for example, of Lou. He was making a blacksmith. I need to review a fuck ton of stuff. I will do it after. Look at Lou, for example. He was making a forge. And when you see that forge, you're like, okay, that's interesting. We know there is a windmill. Not a windmill, a water mill, sorry, with the river right there. It looks old and a bit derelict. There's a big high furnace right there to melt metal. And you have that pattern of the wolf everywhere. I'm going to answer your question just after, Mark. If you have a question, tag me. Use the @team. This way I see there is a question. And write in bold letter question. This way I can identify them in the chat easier. But yeah, when I see this, you see there's a wolf everywhere. There is a wolf, there is a wolf. The blacksmith seems to be drunk. There are bottles everywhere, so you know he's drunk, he's drinking. And it seems, okay, wolf cage with blood. There's a trail of blood, so probably a wolf escaped right there. There's a trap. Wolf. So you know there is something themed around the wolf right there. You know the functionality, you know how everything works. This crucible right there with those mechanisms to have the molten metal to flow. You have that big power hammer that can be connected right here. Here we go. That gigantic mechanism right there can activate the bellow for the high furnace. It can also activate the power hammer. There's probably a way to activate or deactivate it. You have a counterweight right there. You have so much information regarding how it works. That's exactly the kind of stuff I want to see. Similarly, for Forge, let's look at Gael. I'm always sharing the same, but blacksmith is very common. Gael right there, you see that Forge, you are like, what is specific about that? Dragons. You know what he is crafting right there. Dragons. It's themed around the dragon. There's a flavor. What happened right there? There seems to be some kind of corruption growing right here. There's this kind of draconic bats. One of them has been smashed right there. You're already thinking about as I was telling you, the big, where is it? What is it about? Is it inside or outside? Is it daytime, nighttime? Medium, what is it about? Is it functional? What is the function? What are we doing here? How does it work overall? And small, it's all the detail. You have some cloves of garlic, so maybe you have vampires or bats. You have those dragons everywhere. You have that abandoned place right here with the corruption. You have those bats. It seems to be like almost like a part of that place has been abandoned. You had some paintings, some art, so probably you see you have some toys, so there was probably some kids doing some painting, something like that. You can wander in the picture and find a lot of storytelling details overall. It's really that extra layer, and if you look at Fengzu's video, the 109 is explaining that. So what I would advise you is really to have that extra layer of information. You see right there, what is it specific about that when you want to sketch, explain how things work. You see those props right there. You have that bat that has been smashed. Another one that has been killed with that axe. There's still blood. That part has been chopped. So probably while killing the bat, the guy probably chopped a bit of the table. There's like a threatening letters right there. There is a doll right here. So probably maybe they kidnapped a kid, something like that. It seems to be forging extremely luxurious armors. It's not your random ass armors. And with the weapons, there is a theme. Again, very draconic right there. You have a crest around dragon. You have decoration about dragons. Chains around dragon. Everything seems to be surrounded about dragons. So even right there, it's like a draconic forge. Maybe the fire itself is the captured breath of a dragon. See, it seems to be this kind of weird, dark flames. There's something specific about that catches your attention. What is it specific about that grinding wheel? You don't want your asset to feel like something that has been kit-bashed, that could have been kit-bashed. You want to bring some specificity. So to me, Varun, how much time did you spend on that? Just a question. There's no loaded question with me, so don't worry about that. Just to better understand how much time and what could be improved. In the meantime, let me answer the question from Mark. Can I ask a question with this example? What will be the best way of showing the initial ID sketch for this and just a more developed render drawing? Exactly. You look at Gael, something like that. He started to improve his paging a bit. You have a lot of empty space yet, but we're going to work on that this week. Yeah, sketches with drastically different IDs, props, ideations right there, inside, outside, more props right there. That's how you shoot. 5 days, full time, so that's roughly 40 hours. Okay. Assuming full time, it's like 40 hours. I will spend, from the start to finish thumbnails. I would advise you to spend at least an extra 60 hours on it. Something like that, like a full project like this call out sheet, the sketches and the props. In production, I will easily give you 150 to 200 hours to complete that. Do not, and especially for portfolio, do not focus about speed. Do not focus about speed. Focus on getting things done as best as you possibly can. You see, same with the props. It's too organized. You need nothing to look like it could be copied and pasted. Those barrels, they look kind of the same. They are even in the same angle. At least rotate them, twist them, warp them a bit. Same with those boxes. Open one. Nothing needs to feel like it's being made in 3D. Even when you make something in 3D, let's pick like Piotr Krainski, for example. Even when it's made in 3D, it does not feel copy and pasted, you know? Nothing feels too much copy and pasted right there. Maybe those two cars, maybe, but all the rest feel kind of unique. So you need to break that 3D aspect. Right there, you see that there's not that much that has been copied and pasted. Probably those tables and such, that's fine, but the characters, the landscape, it's varied enough so we believe it's not too much 3D. That's the main thing. 3D is a tool, but you do not want to trap yourself with it. You still want to... Actually, for portfolio, that's something I do with the mentees. They tend to not like it when I say that to them. I'm getting less and less Kit Bash maniac in the mentorship overall, but I'm all for create all your assets from scratch, all of them. Make sure that box does not look like a generic box. Find something unique about it. That's very, very important. The reason is mainly copyright. Right there, they might wonder if you kit bash some stuff picked from Sketchfab, and they would be worried if that's the case, because they fear like legal reason. You see right there, it feels low poly. You want to make it high poly. You want to get it to be detailed. It's very important. I like how you explain how things works. This looks like a press rather than a power hammer. I would like to understand what is being made right there. How do you get enough leverage right there? You need more bigger gear to get a lot of leverage overall. So it's really about being a mega nerd and understanding how things work like on a very deep level. See those things right there. That's how we'll do it. It's going to be kind of the same with the others. It's quite nice, but to me, we need to go beyond that. Once you have done that, you go with painting, you go with drawing, and you break the 3D. Right there, it's too clean. It feels like things are a bit on a grid. And when I zoom on them, I want to understand who lives there. What is it specific about them? What is being done right here? I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of dark lighting because it reduces the visibility, and from the distance, it's a bit blurry. So I will make it a bit clearer overall. A layout like that, you can give information about lighting, but don't make the contrast too strong. You still need to get things to be extremely readable. See that one? Something like that is enough. You have enough information about the materials, but you're not too much contrast. You still have information about the lighting. You do not have to overly render those things. If you render them photorealistically, it's going to be too detailed. So right now, again, I would like to see a bit more mess. I would like to see some anecdotes. I would like to see some motion. I would like also to break this kind of square aspect. Have some more random stuff. I would like to play with the X, Y, and Z axis with some stairs and such. And again, I want to see the human elements. What is it specific about that? To me, you have great bases. It's just that we need to push the storytelling way further. What makes that place unique? It's kind of almost hacienda-like type of house unique. This is beautiful. I like those. You see that bed? I would like to see anecdote in the room. Maybe it's someone who likes to read a lot. So you have tons of books. You have a bed table with tons of books. Maybe it's someone paranoid, so he has guns hidden everywhere. Maybe he has cats, so you have cat basket. You have a cat sleeping right there. What is it specific about that? I guess you understand what I mean? Is it clear? It's really the human element, the story, all of that. And again, those sketches, I'm not a big fan of showing early sketches like that. It needs to be very clear. When you show a sketch, it's not really about rendering, it's about are things clear. Can I understand the room without having to use my imagination? Very important. It's not about rendering, it's about clarity. And right there, you are giving them ammo to potentially disqualify you. Hey, the perspective is a bit iffy right there. You're just giving them arguments. Well, right there, it's nice. It's very nice. But again, we need to break the 3D. Get back to Fengzu's video 109 is going to really help you, I think. Get things to be irregular, manufactured, random, chaotic. You see, right there, nothing feels copied and pasted overall. Even those boxes, there's a lot of chaos in them. They are random, they have been opened, it tells something. There's that story that, as if someone broke through that room and was searching for something. You see, that part has been broken. Probably there has been either a fight or someone was searching for something in that forge. That's what you tell the story. You see, you have that bed right there. So the person was not sleeping anymore in that room, probably because of the corruption, and started to sleep right there, like a bed of fortune. It tells something about the corruption. It tells something about their way of life. You have some threatening letters right there. Maybe this guy is a prisoner. Actually, in the story from Gael, this guy, it's a story surrounded around Dracula. Instead of drinking human blood, he captured a dragon and he's drinking the dragon's blood. And that entire village was worshipping that dragon. And now that blacksmith is a prisoner of Dracula, he has to forge weapon for his army of trolls and minions. And he's a prisoner. And you see he's sleeping nearby garlic cloves to repel vampires. You have almost this kind of church, like holy water scene with the dragon. So without that much context, you can make some nice assumptions. You see, you have rats right there stealing the food. You have those bats. You have so much. So yeah, if you spend 5 days for something like that, spend an extra 5 days designing. Do not focus about speed. Focus about getting things designed to the max of your abilities, because there's value in what you're doing. So something like that. This is nice. It's just about forcing yourself to go for very, very hard stuff and spending more time. But in terms of technique, you have what it takes. It's just more time. So very good, man. I hope I do not sound harsh. I'm constantly apologizing, fearing sounding harsh. But yeah, this is nice. Again, what is specific about that house? Let's twist it, break the 3D aspect all the time. What happened in that tavern? What is the theme of that tavern? Can we circulate in the room? Can we have some elevation, maybe a fighting pit somewhere? Because this is nice. Right there, very good. Again, it feels like kit bashing, 3D. And the question I would ask myself as an art director is, are you using 3D because it's saving you time or because it's compensating for a lack of drawing? If it's a lack of drawing, this might be a risk for me as a recruiter. It might turn the application down. So that's why you need to be smart and conceal that 3D. You remove the level of detail, you break it, you draw on top of it. It's really, really going to elevate your work. That's what is being done even in the mentorship. Right there's a 3D base, 100%. But you conceal it. They don't care if you use a 3D base or not. But there you give them the experience that this is consistent and that you could draw. And it's not lying. It's about spending the time to break that 3D aspect and make it look credible and real. Very good. Regarding characters, we have this one. Again, what is the context? Who is that person? What is the function of that person? What is specific about that person? Looks like a female character. Looks like there is what seems to be a 3D base below, which I'm not a big fan of, generally. For characters, I'm not a fan of using 3D unless you're doing a crazy hard surface. But we are beyond junior level for hard surface like that. For characters, that's where you want to draw. Because, again, immediately playing devil's advocate as an art director, I will ask myself, are you using 3D to save time or to cover up for lack of fundamentals and anatomy? And just myself asking that question might be enough to turn off the application. And once I see that, I'm like, can you design? Same with the other ones, by the way. I would like to see iterations right there. Because I know you are able to render things well. I know you are able to propose a final thing. But now what I want to see after that, so the first question is for the 3D team. I think the answer is yes, you passed that test. The second test is, can you iterate easily? That's what we were saying last time with Dave regarding the difference between iterations and variations. Iterations, it's drastic. It's different directions. This is iterations. Those rooms are still blacksmith, but they have nothing in common. Variations will be the same room with just a change right there, for example. But ideally, I want to see iterations first. I want to see drastically different proposals to show you are proficient at that. So that's something you need to improve in your portfolio. You need to show more of that because right now, if you were to do that in production, you are kind of imposing the thing. I know when we are on ArtStation, we always see the final result. We rarely see the variations. So that's a misinterpretation, and that's why I'm going to make that presentation at Kind of Art to diffuse that and explain the methodology used in the mentorship. But right there, if you were in production giving that, unfortunately, you are imposing your decision to the art director. So before doing that, show you can propose, like, let's say 3 drastically different houses. Nothing in common in terms of shape. They might share the same texture, the same theme, but the topology is completely different. You do not have to polish it that much, by the way, but a bit more than that, of course. Same with the characters, as I was saying. I want to see iterations right there. Not just costume in the same pose, because right there, if I see the same pose, I'm like, can you pose? Can you pose a character? Do you know to make dynamic poses? Do you know anatomy? Do you master the fundamentals? That's something I'm saying at the end of my presentation at Kind of Art is if you skip the fundamentals or if in your portfolio there's a doubt about you not having solid fundamentals, unfortunately, it's going to be a no by the recruiter. That's why you want to draw. That's why you want to draw even on top. And you don't need drawing skill to draw properly on top of that. But at least you do the effort of breaking that 3D aspect. Because the design of that chariot is great. I like it. I really, really like it. It looks like a house. There's a bit this kind of Asian influence mixed with Vikings for houses. I like how it looks. I would like to see the size of a human because I don't know if a human could stand right here inside. I don't think. Right there, definitely. But right there, they will crouch. Maybe there's a bed inside. Okay. Yeah. I would like you to check the scale of a human right there compared to a human right there. It looks that if this is the size for a human with that bench, if the chariot is that big, if this is a table right there is no way the bench to sit right there is that size. Because a human would barely be able to sit on it, to just climb on it. It's probably a scale issue that makes me doubt about that. When you are doing something for environment, always add characters everywhere. You want to go in Blender, you create a cube, you make it 1.75 m and maybe tall and maybe 30 centimeter wide, and you put it in red so you can see, and you put it everywhere in your scene. This is a human scale. Or else you pick a human model, you make it the right side, and you scatter it everywhere in your scene to make sure everything is at the right size. Right now, we have a bit of a scale issue. And again, if a human is that size given that bench or even given that table, what is the size of the beast, right? This will be like an elephant. This will be like one of those gigantic elephants in the Lord of the Rings. So there's a bit of a scale issue right there. But I like the design. And correcting the scale will not take you that much. Just about doing that, correcting it a bit, that's great. Now I would like to see some damage. Some trails of rust, dirt, splashing on the thing. I would like to see a lot of those things. Make sense? Same with that one. Variations. Where are the variations? Where are the dynamic poses? Where is the choice for the art director? That's the first thing I want to see. Also, regarding your portfolio, it's good that you started working on one project. You were saying you wanted to target Lian and such. Try to make it a bit more fantasy. Right now it's very grounded, which is good, but you need to add a problematic, a rule that is changed, that creates a problem in your world that people have to solve. Maybe there is constantly wind blowing in only one direction. How do people accommodate for that? Maybe there is some kind of wild magic. How do people accommodate for that? You say you wanted to do Doom/Lian Studio, it would be like, okay, we're in a medieval early Renaissance age. You have monster hunters that are like the medieval Doom guys. Like some gunpowder, black powder shotguns and such. That's very close to what they are doing with Doom the Dark Age. But how do you gadgetize all those weapons to become like demon hunting weapons? Like this is like a hellish forge, like the weapons forged in hell. Similar to the crucible that they have in Doom. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. A good work, man. I'm ruthless with you, but the people I pick right there, to me, this is good work. This is quite nice work. Are we there yet for a job? Maybe not, but shows a lot of potential. And to me, this is quite easy to fix. It just requires time, of course, which is not the funniest thing. But to me, this is easy. No problem, man. No problem. Again, I'm not here to make my advertising for the mentorship when I'm doing reviews, but this is definitely some work that will be almost mentorship ready. And there was a question, how much 3D do you need? I don't give a shit. I don't care if you do it fully in 2D or 3D. I don't care. All that matters is, do you get it about design? And do you have like a sufficient technique overall? Because we are not talking too much about technique in the mentorship, and I want people to get as much value as they can from it. So I don't really care about it will be extremely hard to explain what are my criteria for the mentorship. I'm looking at it and I have a feel for it. I have some unconscious criteria. For example, right there, I see that this is mentorship ready. This is almost mentorship ready. I would like to verify certain things in the call that we will have. But to me, this is almost mentorship ready. How will you add detail wear and tear to an object by a character that is almost obsessively clean, like without being able to dirt, rust, and the like? If the character is obsessively clean, you need to make the room and the clothing obsessively clean, and you need to make it obvious. In that case, it's going to become almost a caricature of that. That's actually very interesting. You want an example of that? Pick. You want an example of something excessively clean. You pick in Blade Runner 2049, you pick Wallace and his house. This is not something I will do. Denis Villeneuve style, this is absolutely not recommended for a portfolio. This is way too minimalistic. You do something minimalistic like you do something like this in a portfolio, whatever your level, you're not going to get hired. Because the first thing I'm asking myself is, okay, is it the absolute max that you are able to do? Because right there, congrats, you just put like a few cubes, another cubes, water with noise, water shader, 2 textures, and that's it. So this is extremely minimalistic. But that's an example of something pristine clean that looks so clean that it's a caricature of that. Varun, if you want to apply, you can book a call. There's the link. Book a call for early next week. I'm going to open up some slot on Monday, by the way. So if you want, book a call for Wednesday if you want. That would be okay. Do not book a call for Friday because I'm at kind of art. But or send me a DM. Send me a DM on Discord. It's going to be easier, I think. We'll figure out even during the weekend if you want. But yeah, I just need to update my Calendly because my schedule has been a bit fucked up. But yeah, something pretty clean. Go with the caricature. Crank it to 11. You know, this guy is so clean. Look at that. There's not a single stain. And I don't know if you remember that scene in Blade Runner 2049. I cannot show it right there for YouTube reason. But in that scene, you see that scene with that girl right there when she's born. That girl is getting stabbed by this guy. And look at the way he's removing the little blood stain he's having on his hand. This is how you want to represent someone that is obsessively clean. But do not get all your characters obsessively clean. Like do not go the Final Fantasy route where everyone looks like a K-pop character that is so clean for a photo shoot. It's not going to be credible, and you are lacking an opportunity to tell a story with the damage, the dirt, and a bit of thing. And I'm not telling you to make everything coming from Goblin Town either. You want to spark a good contrast. You pick Aragorn as Strider. To me, that's an amazing example. I'm always searching for the same picture. This one. You see that one, there's a lot of damage. He's hurt, he has blood. You know he has been fighting right there. Out of context, you know he has been fighting. Just something like that on the sword, you know he has been fighting. This is so important. You cannot tell that if the character is pristine clean out of the factory. Out of the factory is boring. Even that armor, you know it's been manufactured. It's not perfect. And that's what is making that costume so good and so credible, because it's not perfect. You look at that costume right there. It's credible because it's imperfect. You look at the Rings of Power. You look at the costumes from the Rings of Power. You don't believe in that shit because it looks pristine clean. Like, dude, you being wandering outside, you barely have dirt on your shoes. Okay, they barely damaged that thing. How comes that robe is pristine clean? How comes that skin is not having freckles and such? This is way too clean. This is a cosplay. Same with that costume. It's okay, there's a bit of blood. It's kind of okay. The shape looks so fucking bad. There's no weight to it. Like the elven costumes are horrible. Like those things, I don't believe in that. This looks so bad. This looks like a cosplay, like something you buy on Wish that you wear once and then it's completely ruined. Look at the difference between that crap right there and this. That shit, $1 billion, $300 million. Look at that. You believe in that. You don't believe in that shit right there. What is that? Why is there a printed t-shirt with scales under that armor? It's literally a printed spandex. I'm using that meme of the printed spandex all the time. This is literally a printed thing right now. $1 billion? What's the budget for the Return of the King? 94 millions. 1/11 of the price. Look at the difference of quality. This is so bad. To me, this is the perfect example of why you should slightly damage your thing. Nothing should be perfect. Perfect does not exist. Or else, if it's perfect, it's because it's on purpose. It's because you want it to be perfect and it's going to look perfect in contrast to something that is beaten up. And that's why The Lord of the Rings doesn't age. That movie does not age. Sure, you have a few VFX and matte painting that could be done better today. That movie is aging like wine. This thing looks ugly straight out of the box. Yeah, and even in terms of functionality, you stab the person there, it's literally exposing the heart of the person right here. You get an arrow right there, you are fucking dead. You get an arrow right there, you have a chance because there is a chainmail. This is so bad. How can you get a scale armor to be articulated right there? Oh yeah, they printed the spandex right there. That's why. This wrinkle right there should never happen in a costume. You should stop the scale mail before. You should have a chainmail under it. And then you have a pair of gloves. You cannot have a t-shirt made of scales right there. Anyway, enough rambling. We're going to make some impromptu lives about design overall eventually. I just want to have some random subject like that. I love it. So, next person, Lorenzo from Italy. Let me check what Lorenzo wrote. Lorenzo from Italy. I recently finished concept art course that lasted 2 years and made me fall in love with environment art and Blender. I have no previous experience with art. I don't feel like my portfolio is up to the standard required to get into the industry yet. So currently I'm studying at home using mainly your videos. I'm quite flattered, buddy. I'm very flattered. I'm studying at home using mainly videos. I'm quite torn about which companies to aim at. You will have to decide which company, because how can you possibly get work that is relevant to a company if you don't know which company to be relevant to? That's one of the first questions you need to ask yourself. And to ask yourself that, we're going to talk about that eventually. In 2 weeks, when I'm back from Kind of Art and I'm making the same presentation that I will do at Kind of Art Live, you will get the answer to that. You will know how to figure out those companies. So, my biggest inspiration, I'm in love with indie studios that make very stylized games. Biggest inspiration is Hades and Disco Elysium. Very good choice. But on the other side, I see that I draw, I come up with concepts that seem more geared towards children. I don't know if I should shift my focus toward the world of animation for children. It's up to you. It's just that animation in terms of job security it's not the greatest in my opinion. I know that the industry is not in the best state at the moment. That's one thing. But animation is very unstable in terms of pipeline. They are like 15 years behind video games. Kind of similar to what Dave was explaining last week. I don't know if I should shift my focus. I feel like my work has gotten a bit stale lately. My composition are not very interesting, and you can clearly see that my artwork are made painting over my Blender model. This is not a problem if you do it properly. We're going to talk about that. I would love some advice on how to make more interesting shape and how to make my illustration more painterly and less 3D. Great. So, first of all, your characters are actually pretty nice. I mean, I like what I'm seeing. It's quite nice. It's a bit, 3 months old. Oh, you have a 3D base? Interesting. Okay. So, something I will advise you with your 3D scene. Right there, that's something I don't really like in terms of concept art today. People like Piotr Kwiński will heavily disagree with me. Same with the folks at OPB and such. The problem is that those studios, they rarely hire juniors. And it seems that you are not really aiming at them. So I will allow myself to talk about that with all the respect that I have for OPB and their work. I personally don't think that concept art should be ugly 3D. Or kid bashing, or just 3D. I think our job is first and foremost to solve problems, design stuff, and 3D can be one of the tools if you are very proficient at it. For most junior, it won't be the case. For most junior, 3D alone is not enough, because it's going to look like a 3D render that is not realistic enough and not clean enough and not with the well topology and all of that to be 3D art, and too detailed and too close to an attempt at a final render for concept art. So you get the worst of both worlds, in my opinion. What I would advise you to do, exactly as I was telling to Varun, and exactly as I was showing with Gael's portfolio, is if you do a 3D base, what I would advise you to do is that you lower the opacity, you lower the amount of rendering. Maybe you render it at only 1 or 2 samples. You render one in high quality, you render another one at like 4 samples in Blender, and you use the denoiser. It's going to be a mush of pixels. You're not going to have that 3D sharpness. And you are going to paint on top and draw on top to bring back that organic look, and break the 3D aspect. That's exactly what Feng Zhu is doing. Let me show you that video from Feng. 109. Thank you so much, Feng, for not putting ads in front of your work. Not every heroes wear capes. Here you go. You see right there is a 3D base. It's completely a 3D base. It's very sharp. And you see it's already breaking the fact that everything looks like it's on a grid. You can go very far in terms of 3D right there. You see? But eventually, you're going to put basic shaders. And once you have that, you can totally draw on top and arrive on that. So you use the best of 3D and you have the best of 2D at the same time, rather than having the worst of 3D and the worst of concept art at the same time. Does that make sense? I don't know if Lorenzo is watching right now. I will take that as a yes. So that's how I will break the 3D aspect. And all the work from the mentees that you have seen in the past that I have shared, this is exactly that. You can use a 3D base, something like this, but break it eventually. I will allow myself to share the work that some mentees did from September class. I hope it's okay with you, folks. Homework, just to show you that principle. Stefan is so good. You see, there was a quick 3D base and then it was just some sketches. Quick disclaimer, Stefan is a monster. Stefan has been working for big studios already. This is way beyond junior. This is almost end mid to early senior level, okay? Let me show you David. David is an incredible case study. You see, very simple 3D base and then just drawing on top. You can convey so much ideas with that. This is something you can show to your art director already. Not as a polished stage, but as part of your portfolio for your research, 100%. As I was telling before, it's not about how well you can render things. It's about, is the idea conveyed in a clear way? Can you communicate properly as a designer, as an artist? I don't like using artist, like concept artist. I prefer concept designer. I know it's a slightly different thing, but I would like to remove the artist from the equation because art, it's like a technical prowess and all of that. We are problem solvers. Our job is to communicate easily. That thing, you know, it's done very fast. It's very rough. Is it clear with that drawing and those refs? Can we understand exactly what was the intention? Yes. So if it's clear, if we can discuss about that, you can definitely show that to your art director. I wouldn't even mind having that in a portfolio, not as a final result, but just to document your thinking process. That's the power of pictures right there. You can make so much sense with that. You see that sketch? You have that picture, you understand how it will look. Does that make sense? It has been my crusade for the last month since I launched the mentorship. Like, technique is fucking overrated. Rendering is overrated. What matters is this. And Feng Zhu has been talking about that for 15 years. You look even at his old paintings, random picture, random one sketching. You see, there's so many photos. Is in the world of ID. It's not about technique and which brush do you use. It's about the ID. You see, he's going to sketch something. Of course, it's Feng, so Feng is incredibly efficient. Is the ID clear right there? for this kind of vine tree weird thing, yes, that's all you need. For now, once you are settled on that ID, sure, then you can render it. That's fine. This is conveying so much more IDs than any 3D renders. It's probably done quite fast. Sure, you could scroll them in Blender, but the time you're going to spend to sculpt it, render it, wait for the render, doing the shader, doing all that extra work, just fucking draw it at that stage. It's going to be way more time efficient. I can also guarantee that something like that will grant you more likes on ArtStation than if it was made in 3D. As crazy as it sounds. And once you have that, you have the references so you know it will look. The art director can validate one and we can render it. That's fine. Look at this. This is how you make variations right there. Of course, it's Fang. Okay. Fang is a monster. You don't need that level of technique. But this, things like this is the job. This is our job. Every day, this is 80% of what we would do at work. Explaining how things work. Like a regular designer. You know when you are a designer for cars or for watches, or I don't know, let's say you are a car designer. Sure, you're going to have the shape and then you're going to discuss with the engineers about is it feasible or not. You still need to be careful about aerodynamism, having enough space for the engine, enough storage for the trunk of the car. You need to pay attention to that. Sometimes you're going to have a crazy design like the Cybertruck, for example, or like I don't know, like a Lamborghini, something like that. It's going to be a crazy design. That's because it's a concept car. And it's all about shape and not that much about functionality. Actually, Lamborghini is very good because they have both the shape, which I personally don't like, but it's just a matter of taste, and functionality because those are amongst the fastest cars available. Cybertruck, it's not really about functionality. It's just about the style, you know. I know everyone wants to shit on the Cybertruck. I don't know if it's a beautiful design, but at least it's interesting and a bold move overall. So it's the same with those variations. You're bringing the same thing. Bring different variations. I want to see the macro level variation, those different things, before seeing difference of mood. Difference of mood in a portfolio, I don't really care. If you want to do a difference of mood, do 4 POV shots inside from different angles in different places with different lighting. That's going to be good. All of that, again, if it's redundant and recurrent, if it's stuff we have already seen, you don't have to show it again in a portfolio. They are busy. Art directors are very busy. Sometimes I even do it myself when I'm reviewing application for the mentorship. Sometimes I open something, I close it immediately because I've seen enough. I'm like, this person doesn't get it. Or else it's too early in terms of technique, something like that. Sometimes just the first impression is enough. Always put yourself in the shoes of art directors and recruiters. They are busy creators. They don't like to review portfolio. They are artists just like you. They want to discuss about ideas. They want to draw. They want to do art. They don't care about filing paperwork to recruit people. They have to do it. They have no choice. But they don't like doing that. So make their user experience as easy as possible. And every time they have seen something already, they're like, yeah, okay, I've seen it, whatever. Whatever. Show me something new. Feed me. Keep me entertained. Give me arguments to stay. Even when you look at Stefan Sword. Go check Stefan. And mark my words, in a few months, Stefan is going to be massive. Because his work is so freaking good. That's design. You see, it's like, okay, you probably use 3D, you know how to model stuff. Oh, you know how to design. Here we go. Props, dioramas with stories. The cigar box, the music machine, the brandies. Look at the design of that table. This is nuts. This is the power of creating your own assets. You will never be able to kit bash that. Here we go. That's what I want to see. Once I have seen you are able to model this, I know you can render the scene. Okay, you see one picture like that, you're like, okay, this guy knows how to do 3D. That's fine. Let's move on. This is what is going to keep me entertained after. You see one of those shots, like this one, you are like, yeah, I understand. You are super good at 3D. You are 1 pixel brush level of 3D right there. It's 1 pixel brush level of 3D. It's good. Next criteria. Technique is the easiest to assess. In 1 or 2 pictures, you can assess it. I see that, I cannot really assess the technique. This, immediately I assess. This guy knows how to draw. He knows how to design. He understands shapes. He understands design. I get it. Now I just want to... it's just gluttony. Then once I see that, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I made up my mind. It's good. Please feed me cool stuff. I just want to enjoy the ride now. It just treats for the art director. I'm taking so much pleasure watching that because I understand the idea. I can hear the picture. And you see, it's just a 3D base right there. It's not your average kit bash from Sketchfab. And maybe that cigar has been kit bashed. I don't care. It's a minor detail. The table, the big meat right there, those chairs, those design, they have not been kit bashed. Nobody expects you to model a tree or a rock. Nobody cares. But the big meat of your design, that's what you need to do. That's your job. Action Gamer 0, can you review my portfolio? I picked a few that have been submitted on Discord. If you want to submit your work, go check the Discord link down below. Go check the public portfolio review channel. Read the pinned comment and submit your work for next time. I'm probably not even going to be able to review everyone's work, but whatever. It's for education, and I'm pretty sure by reviewing that work, so many people can learn from that. And at some point, reviewing 50 different stuff, I'm going to repeat myself. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And about characters, kind of similar to what I was saying. Iterations, turnaround, props, gear, facial expressions, things like that. I'm going to review characters' work for a dedicated character designer. But yeah, decide what you want to do. Because if you try to please everyone, you're going to please no one. That's the problem. Right there, you see, you can feel the 3D. You can feel you painted over 3D. So remove the 3D, draw on top and color it by hand. It's going to be way more valuable. You just add a line work to all of that. I can guarantee you it's going to look better already. That's exactly what is happening right there. Or what I was showing you with Stefan. Right here. This is a simple 3D render. With very blurred out things. You see, even that picture. You see that picture? You grab it in Photoshop. You go filter, blur, smart blur. Increase the radius. You play a bit with the threshold. If you have line work right there, I can guarantee you it's going to look nice. Because everything is so much simpler now. It's very blurry right there, so it's not the best. Just an example. That's how you could do proper line work, not like some garbage line work, of course, proper one. Oh, if you were that person that were asking for feedback in a very rude way in the grand set channel, yeah, that's probably why you got kicked out of Discord. Nothing personal. It's just that, yeah, that's not how it works here. And don't worry, you are not the only one. People that are potentially being very blunt or very insistent regarding asking for feedback to me or to other people. I don't want those kind of people in the Discord generally, because I mean, it's going to damage the community overall. I don't know if it was you or someone else, but I remember about having kicked only one person in the Discord. I'm the only one who can kick people. So that's probably the we are probably talking about the same person right now. It was very blunt, and I received some complaints from people who were in the chat at that moment about that. I even sent you a message. I even intervened in the chat saying that at least say please. You answered impolitely. So boom, ban. We are cultivating a network of professionals here, and social skills is also part of the professional package. Oh, the link is expired? Oh, interesting. Let me put it in the chat, and I'm going to correct it next time. Let me put it in the chat. Thank you, Josh. Is it working? Let me put a link. I need to set it up so it never expires. Modify. Never. There we go. There we go. Should be working right now. So yeah, as I was saying, social skill is part of the package that we are expecting on that server. We got a very high quality of people right there, including pros, including future pros. I'm building a network, and I'm holding everyone, even in the public part of the server, to a high standard. And I know some other people have spammed me in DM, or have spammed some people for reviews. I'm explicitly writing in the rules, do not spam requesting feedback without context. That's also the problem. And do not spam me for free portfolio reviews or individual feedback. I cannot afford to give feedback to 1,000+ members. If I give feedback one-on-one to someone for free, I have to do it for 1,000 people. There's no way I can do that. I wish I could, but I just cannot do it. That's not what I remember about if we are talking about the same person. I don't even remember the name of the person that I banned, but I banned only one person in the last month or so, something like that. And I received some complaint. End of the discussion. Let's move to the next. Let's move to the next one. So, Raphael. I'm thinking about Raphael from Baldur's Gate now. Let me check. Raphael. Where is it? Crap, where is it? Where is the... Give me a second. I'm just trying to find Raphael. Oh, I don't have context surrounding it. Crap. So I cannot give proper feedback if I don't have the context. I apologize about that. Feel free to resubmit your stuff with context for next time. Let me pick Alessandro from Italy. Here we go. And again, nothing personal when I'm skipping someone like that. Feel free to reapply. There's no problem. It's just that I want things to be structured properly, so everything is equal for everyone, and everyone, including people in just the public part, not even the mentees, get used to abiding by the rules and proper etiquette, so they develop a professional mindset too. There's nothing personal. I'm not angry at anyone or whatever. I don't care. Never taking things personally. So, Alessandro, welcome, buddy. I'm a concept artist and illustrator. Maybe it's too late to send a portfolio in case I apologize. Nope. Just that we got another session, so that's totally fine. I've worked as a concept artist for a few small projects. That's great. You got your first line of the resume. I would like to work in studio one day, but I haven't had luck yet. I am at studio like Ubisoft, Bethesda, Shiro Games, Lian, Artificial Course, Studlock Studios, and many others. So mainly RPG ones, I guess. I like to paint and draw different styles from realistic to more stylized, and I don't know if this is a good thing. Maybe it brings inconsistency in the portfolio. Here is my portfolio. Nice. So, let's have a look. First of all, those different companies, you need to make an average of what they are doing. And based on what I see, right there with that Dragon Horde, seems kind of okay. I like Blacksmith. Let's have a look. Here we go. Already in terms of disposition of object, it's a bit better compared to the previous Forge. I like it. The 3D aspect is a bit more broken. We can still feel the copy and pasted aspect for those boxes, those barrels. Those barrels, I don't really believe in them. Now, I want to see what is special. I like the fact that you're explaining a few mechanisms. You see right there, that's the problem of a realistic rendering. I will render it with flat colors so we can identify those things a bit better. Right now, if you squint your eyes, that cog shares the same silhouette as this kind of black metal thing behind, and it's a bit hard to read. So that's why having a more technical drawing is a bit better. So, again, it feels 3D, so you have to break that 3D, and right there, it feels like a house, and you stuck some wings on it. So, similar to what I was saying, I would like to see more storytelling. What is specific about that forge? What is being forged there? What is specific about the owner right there? I want to see the small props I was talking about. You see, I'm starting to repeat myself, so it's good. It allows me to look at different work. This one. You see the variations right there? They are not drastic enough. You still have some common points between things. It's just the center that changed. And you are kind of imposing the main idea. I would like to see 3 different topologies, like completely different topologies. I know there's a different theme. Right there you have that emptiness. Right there you have wind. Right there you have a bit of water. It's interesting. How can you shape the whole room around that theme? Not just that part. I would like to understand what that thing does. Seems to be like a windmill, something like that. Eolia, yeah, it sounds like something with wind. What is the purpose of that machine? What does it do? Those props are amazing. I really like that. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. I like to see those things. Like props design like that, I would like to see them almost earlier because that's a lot of value. The rendering is a bit crude, I would say. I mean that with zero disrespect. It's just that the shapes are a bit big right now. Everything is big in terms of shape. And I would like some stuff to be a bit smaller overall. Is it okay to reapply later for the mentorship with new work? Yes, with new work, please. With new work, and you have applied what was explained in the video, if not potentially the program that was proposed to help you level up. Yes, definitely in a few months. No problem. Welcome, Arno. That's always a pleasure. It's my job now to provide education and to art direct people that will be eventually way better than me. And I must say, I absolutely love it. We're going to have a fuck ton of podcasts with pros and such pretty soon. Starting in November, you are not ready for what is coming. It's going to be absolutely massive. So yeah, those iterations, that's where the value is. I want to see more, but it's like the big, medium, small again. Big, what it is. Medium, how does it work? Small, what is specific about it? Right now, we just have the big and the medium, which is good. You need the small. What is the story being told with those things? What is specific about that ornament, right? What is the story that it tells? That's the kind of stuff I want to see. Hello, Sarah. Nice to see you, buddy. Let's pick an outside thing. Here we go. I like that. I like that a lot. Again, you have the big and the medium. To me, this is a literal interpretation of what I was saying before. Like you have the 3D, you break the 3D, you draw on top. I would like you, again, because you need nuance and such, in addition to painting over, add some extra details that will take a fuck ton of time to do in 3D. Let me. Open that up. There we go. Sorry. So yeah, add some smaller detail, like the pins, the nails that are holding everything together, some ropes, some extra detail. This is great. Those mechanisms, you understand what is needed for the job. Again, those variations, what makes those houses specific? What is the thing for each of them? Maybe this one is a stable. This one is like a brewer. Maybe this one is an herbalist. Something like this. Those props, I want to see dioramas. Similar to what I was showing before with Gael. I want to see a story told to me with those objects. You see, you have those bats that has been smashed. That frightening letter, the doll, the armor, it tells the story. You can wander there, spend a long time, and understand what is happening right there. That's the kind of stuff I want to see for props. Do not do a single prop alone. Do a diorama. You're bringing so much more value by doing a little diorama. Because a props alone, it's like, okay, the 3D team models it. Then what do you do with that? Right there, you give so much more things to model, and you explain how to build it. What is the story to tell? You are playing like 5D chess with the 3D team right now. You are anticipating so many of their future questions. That's great. That's really great. So yeah, dioramas and break the 3D aspect. You were doing it before, so I know you are able to do it. It's about style consistency. Characters, they are not bad. Pretty nice set of NPCs. But again, I want to see something specific about each of them. I want to understand their job. I want to understand their function in the village. I want to understand their personality. You see, they all have a similar look, very neutral. I would like to see them interacting with something or someone. Let me give you an example. For Michael, how to make NPCs like this. You sell them, you sell us on the personality, their attitude, the charm that they potentially have. It needs to spark an emotional reaction. And when you see that, you know what they are about. That's what I want to see. I want to see the personality. Not crazy poses. You see, they are still quite neutral. But you keep so much information about them. You understand who they are seeing that, what they are about. What's their job? What's their mind? What makes them special? You make a scene like that, get something to happen. Maybe there's a cow running wild in the marketplace wreaking havoc in this. Something needs to happen right there. Otherwise, nothing justifies the shot right there. Why is there a house right here? What is happening here? Where do I look? What is interesting in that picture? Give me a context. Give me a story. Give me something happening in that place. And that something happening in that place needs to be a perfect example of the way of life there. When you are doing an environment, you need to tell me about the life of the people. Anyone doing environment, it's always about the characters. As paradoxical as it sounds, every time you do environment, it's always about the character. The environment is an extension of the character. It's a reflect of the civilization those characters live into. It's a reflect of the personality of those characters. Think about the characters first, even when you're a full environment designer. And I'm speaking about that being a full-time environment designer. It's what I've been doing for 8 years in my career. It was always about the characters, never about the environment itself. An environment is meant to serve the people who live in it. That's good, man. That's very good. I mean, you know to draw. You need to trust yourself drawing more. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I like to see. How much time do you spend on something like this? I'm curious. Are you still there, buddy? But yeah, waiting for the answer. But yeah, man, your work is great. When I see that, there's definitely something that to weak at last. Okay. In production, you will have 4. You will have 4, so twice as much. So I'm pretty sure you are able to do that level of detail. Yeah, damn, that rendering is nice. Those designs are pretty cool, man. You have everything, man. This is like mentorship ready plus, buddy. I don't know if you already applied to the mentorship. I don't recall having seen your work before, but if at some point you do it, let's have a talk about that, because that's great work, man. And no wonder you're already working a bit. I like it. Even right there, the painting is nice. There we go. Functionality of those doors, 3 different drastic proposals. That's exactly the kind of stuff I want to see. This is great, man. The new shrine kind of similar to Megaton in Fallout 4. I like it. And if one day you apply to the mentorship, we're going to have a talk about it. And it will be a pleasure to have you, because your work is great, buddy. Amazing. I wanted to talk quickly about that one. That's an interesting example. Let me check the thing. I'm indeed 2D concept artist and illustrator. I've been working in the game industry. Great. I only had the opportunity to do character tasks. In my future, I would like to practice my illustration skill more on the environment and storytelling aspect. Living in a third world country, I would love to have opportunities to work remotely for bigger international projects. It would be so helpful if I could get some suggestion on how to achieve that, along with which skill I still need to practice more to get closer to that vision of mine. No problem. Your case is very interesting. First of all, because you live in a low-income country that is a bit away from the hotspots. So you need to target studios that hire freelancers perfectly. That's your main chance. You need to fit exactly what they are doing flawlessly, and then make sure your portfolio is relevant to them, that you tick all the boxes one by one for what they want in terms of content, style, process, answering the 3 questions that are above at the top left of the monitor right now. That's how you are going to be able to escape your situation. And for anyone living in a low-income country, you need your work to be extremely relevant, and you need to target companies that are okay working with freelancers. Again, I'm going to explain how to do that in 2 weeks. Or in 1 week if you are at Kind of Art. My presentation will be on Saturday, by the way, Saturday afternoon. So you need to figure out which kind of companies you want to work for. Because when I see that, I can get a bit of a Blizzard, Diablo, slight anime inspiration. Also South Korean MMOs like Terra, Iron, things like that. This sounds very like South Korea type of MMO right there. Or Black Desert, things like that. No problem, Alessandro. If at some point you change your mind, no problem. So yeah, there's a strong South Korean vibe to me. I like it. It's also an option, especially because it's close to where you live, at least compared to Europe or the US. The first thing that I've seen, of course, I'm going to be careful because I see some content that is not very YouTube friendly. During a big part of your portfolio, we only see female character. Very pin-up-like and such. Be careful with that because it might be a bit of a one-trick pony type of profile. If you can only do female characters, the same type of skin complexion and such, you might restrict yourself. So the first thing I would advise you to do is to have a huge variety of characters, different genders, different ethnicities, different ages, young people, children, old people, potential non-human races like orcs, goblins, and such, to show you can do a wide variety of characters and you are not restricting yourself to just one small niche overall. That's the first thing I will do. Second thing for characters, what would I like to see for characters? I want to see a turnaround, which you have right there. Front view, back view, side view. I would swap the front view to the left and then the back view to the middle. It's beautiful with the hair. I love it. And side view, very important. Pretty nice. So I'm okay with that. I see a bit of iterations right there. Different poses, slightly different ones. Yeah, it's just the same right there and it's the same right there. I will go very drastic. Each different proposal have a different pose. The reason to do that, especially at that stage, is that if you have a different pose, different body shapes, different proportions, different haircut, different face complexion, and you are not reusing always the same as a mannequin, every time you change the pose, you change the context, you mentally reset. It allows you to mentally reset and avoid doing the same thing over and over again, or orbit only already around the same ID. So that's what I would advise you. At the same time, you are proving you can pose easily. Rendering is quite nice. Can it be improved? Yes, and it's always the same thing that I'm saying to everyone. You want to improve your rendering, focus on 3 things. Focus on ambient occlusions. You're welcome, Alessandro. Focus on ambient occlusions. The second thing is lighting. Right now, your lighting is a bit soft. I like it with what is going on with the hat, but it's still a bit soft. I would advise you to have a slightly harder lighting. I like this kind of backlight. It's not exactly a rim light. It's more a backlight that is catching the volumes. That's how you do it. You do not do just one straight line right there. It's ugly as fuck. You do it while catching the volume. So you understand how lighting works. That's great. I would advise you just to have a more direct and sharp type of lighting. And the last thing is material separation. Right now, everything feels kind of the same in terms of material. I would like those hair to feel more silky. I would like those metals to feel more reflective. I would like the skin to have a bit of sheen. The lipstick to feel glossy. The gemstone to feel translucent. The hair again to feel silky. Because right now, everything feels kind of matte, slightly velvety everywhere, and you lose a bit of separation. That's how I will do it. But the rendering, the emotions that you have in the face, the aura of the character, especially for very seductive type of character like that, it's very well done. I will add some imperfections on the skin, like some freckles. It's going to bring a bit more tangibility to the skin. Careful about that arm. It seems abnormally thin, and those legs seems abnormally long. And right there, it's kind of weird what is happening on that leg right here, as if you were missing the belly and the thighs part. I think we are missing a part of the anatomy right there, below the ribcage, before the thighs and the hips. So I would make it a bit more obvious, because right now it feels a bit blocky right there. And for characters like that, you want to really show flawless anatomy. Everyone in the Discord, I said that with the mentees already. I tell to the mentees, when you give feedback to each other, be ruthless with each other regarding perspective and anatomy. And I advise everyone in the public part of Discord to do exactly the same. Be ruthless with each other regarding anatomy and all of that. Do not be mean. Do not be a dick, of course. But be constructive, and when you see a mistake that you can fix, help that person fix that. So we have a lot of pinups and all of that. It might be stuff that you were doing at work. So again, that's what the work requires you to do, so that's fine. But yeah, see, lot of female characters, and we have like one male, one androgynous right there, somewhat androgynous right there, another male right there. You want to be a bit more careful with that, to not restrict yourself. But your rendering is very good. Whether this is a bit better already. You know how to design. You know to show the personality of the character. Those designs are presentable, but I want to see the full package. I want to see iterations for each of them. I want to see props. I want to see the turnarounds. I want to see gear. And more important, for character design, I want to see creatures. As a character designer, it's really good if you have 1 or 2 creatures. Some pets, a sidekick, a mount, something like that in your design. The next thing, as I was saying, similar to everyone else, is that you need to figure out which studios you can apply to, as I was telling you at the beginning, and have work that matches what they are doing. Right now, it feels a bit like mobile game. That's what I assume you are working on, and there's no disrespect that. To me, this seems like your perfect waifu for like a gacha game. That's fine, or card game. But if you want to work on bigger product and all of that, you would need to make sure the content of your portfolio matches a bit more what they are doing. But to me, you know how to do it. You know how to do it. Again, it will be mentorship ready, no problem. Technique is good. You know how to design. The vibe that we have with that face, it's very well done. It works extremely well. So you know it works. It's just about pushing it further now. Send me a message if you want, Mindy. I will send you a little something to help you if you want. But yeah, that's pretty nice. And yeah, you have some experience. So it's all about targeting more properly the companies now. But very good, Mindy. Very, very good. Even the presentation skills are great. Like the paging writer is beautiful with this kind of tarot card thing. Very nice. So great job. Great job. Just that the content that you do at work is probably not the friendliest for a concept art portfolio. So you will have to steer away from that, push a bit certain things that we talked about, and then apply with a fresh and prospective portfolio. Next one, Theo or Theo from Prague. Let me check what you were saying. I've been working for about a year. Get into visual development. Oh no, we don't have the full context. Reapply, filling out the full context, please. Next. Federica. I'm currently an illustrator for board games, so most of my work is under NDA, just like any professional work. But I will be happy to review that one. I aim to be an illustrator for games and be part of great studios like Environment or Titan Forge game, and one day work for Hearthstone. Okay. Similar to everyone else. What are they doing at Envar? What are their visual codes? How to close the gap with the artists working there? Do they have tutorials? And actually, Envar, if you have not watched that tutorial, go watch it. It's free. And this is the Bible for character design. Everyone wanting to do character design, go watch that tutorial from Envar. It's really going to help you massively. Anyone doing character design, even realistic one, go watch this. This is exactly what you need to do. And it's free. You type Envar tutorial, you will find it. It's on ArtStation. Such a great tutorial. It's a bit noisy. There's a bit of detail everywhere. And I would like you to have a better hierarchy of detail. Where it matters, where it's important, around the face, the hands, and all of that. If it's important, you detail it. If it's not important, you don't detail it. How many piece artwork in portfolio more than 3? Can you rewrite your sentence properly, please? So, yeah, hierarchy of detail. Not only for characters, but for illustration. It's going to be exactly the same. You need to tame the amount of detail. Where it matters, you detail it. Where it doesn't matter, you don't detail it. You see right there? When you squint your eyes, it's a bit blurry. The amount of contrast is not the strongest right there. And you see the composition. It's just a straight line from those characters to this, and then we don't really know where to go. Most of the composition is going to be an S, generally. And similar to what I was saying before, material separation. Right now, everything feels a bit textured the same way, and it tends to flatten your picture because this diamond creature seems to be textured. The background is textured. The foreground is textured, so it makes everything feels a bit flat overall. Careful about anatomy, perspective and such. Than 3 months ago. It's really about extracting the visual codes. Like, try to understand the composition of the artwork. Try to extract the color palette that they use for each of them. And you're going to see it's kind of always the same. Let me open a few in Photoshop. And careful about splash art and illustration. It's not very junior friendly. If you want to start somewhere as an illustrator, I would say tabletop RPG tends to be easier. And for League of Legends splash art, there's so much money involved in the process that you need to get a lot of experience before moving there. And I'm not saying that to discourage you. I'm saying that so you don't set yourself up for disappointment. If you think this needs to be the first company you need to join. Spoiler alert, it won't be the first company you join. But yeah, you see the composition. Let me grab my tablet. You see? Of course, we want to see the face and the body of the character and the weapon. So that's 1, 2. Okay. Look at the lines, how everything gets you to converge towards the character, towards the face. And right there, the perspective line. The flow with the wind right here. Everything gets you to converge towards the character, even the lines right here. See? You're going to notice for Riot, especially, that always the camera is tilted. The horizon line is never straight. Same right here. You see? I'm not the biggest fan of that one, I must admit. It's a bit too simple. Even those arches, the light is going there. The arm is going there. You have the flow, that thing going there. You have those arches going there. Everything wants you to experience what these characters see. Just look up and see that hulking giant in their face. Even right there, you see it's like some arrows right here. That one, again. There we go. The rabbit is looking there, there. Everything converges towards the face. Start from the face, then you have this kind of flow. There we go. Good question. How many portfolio pieces should I make to apply for jobs? I would say between 15 and 20. With 20% of them being polished renders, the rest showing iterations, design, and such. There are no specific number. Is it okay to skip splash art in portfolio? Splash art is not for junior. So I heavily do not recommend doing splash art for a portfolio for your first job. If you want to do splash art eventually, start with illustration for projects like D&D, unofficial tabletop RPG books, board games and such, cards. And eventually, you're going to transition towards splash art. Let me show you an example. Pick Rudy Siswanto. That's exactly what he did. One of my favorite artists. He started as an illustrator for tabletop RPGs, D&D, things like that. He did the Baby Bestiary for D&D, for example. And progressively, his style became more and more cartoony. See, his style is becoming more and more cartoony and smooth. Even more. Even more, and we start having this kind of League of Legends splash out thing. And boom, guess what? Riot. You need a tremendous amount of expense to do splash out for Riot. Because everyone wants to do that, so they can afford to pick the best. So first thing is the composition. Right there you see it's like a line. Where do I want to see? I start there, there. How do you capture the view? Do you capture the attention of the viewer? Even in terms of subject. Try to think about what you want to tell in each of them. This is nice for like a D&D thing, something like that. I'm not the biggest fan of that texture because it tends to flatten things and reduce the contrast right there. I like your colors right there, those vivid colors right there. I really like it. I think you should really push that style. Something like this, I really like it. Characters, be careful. Anatomy, facial structure. You need to be absolutely pristine clean with that. But there, the faces lack a bit volume. So again, ambient occlusion, material diversity, lighting. It's going to drastically help you. I'm not the biggest expert about illustration. I've been doing a lot of illustration, but I'm focusing so much on concept art now that I tend to review everything with a concept art approach. Send a link, Rainbow Shimmers. Not files. Send a link to your portfolio. Because the way we review your portfolio is also part of the expense. If it takes forever to load, if it's just a bunch of files and you send that to a company, there's no way you can get hired. You need the user experience to be smooth. Let's move to the next person. I'm going to do one or two more. Just one more, probably. Answer a few questions after. And I think I'm going to call it done because I don't have that much time today. So, next person. Hello, I'm Celine. I've learned a lot from last week's portfolio review. Glad you liked it. I've been working as a concept artist for the past 2 years at a small tech, but game-oriented company, and as a background artist for a year before. In the past, I've tailored my portfolio for animation, but I would like to shift more consistently to games. I'm aiming at companies like Quantic Dream, CDPR, Lian, and Cloud Chamber. Okay, I've been focusing on environment so far, but seeing more generalist concept artist position lately made me wonder if I should include some character as well. Yeah, 15 to 20 pieces, but yeah, but, okay. You don't need to fully render everything. In that one, you see that's a chapter. There's like, how many pages is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm not counting it because there's a single. 12, 13. Let's curate it. Let's say there is 10 right there. There's one polished picture and a few semi-rendered stuff. You do it a second time, maybe a third time on something slightly different. You have enough of a portfolio. It takes a bit of time, of course, but yeah. Doing an illustration like that, it's easily 200 hours. Easily. Not for just one person. It's like several artists working together for weeks on something like that. So, back. Oh no, did I close the... Oh. Let me reopen the work of Celine. Sorry, I closed it by accident. So, similar to everyone else, those companies, Quantic Dream, Lian, CDPR, you need to make an average of what they are doing. Quantic, they tend to be a bit tech heavy. Lian, CDPR, they tend to be a bit medieval. So I'm pretty sure you can find something maybe during, I don't know, Napoleon War, Renaissance, something like that, that will be both a bit fantasy and a bit technological, that will fit both. I will answer your question after. I'm finishing with Céline first. So you need to make an average of what they are doing in terms of subject. That's the first thing. Let's talk about technique. It's clear that you are working already because you understand what is required in production. You have some nice variations. The way you present things is clear and readable. Something like this is nice. I don't like the website that you have because it takes forever to load. In an ideal world, I click on the link, I just have to scroll, and all the picture take like 60% of the space of the monitor. I don't have to click to zoom, and you see it's taking forever to load. I have fiber optics, by the way. I have a good connection, but it's taking forever to load. So use ArtStation for your portfolio. User experience is going to be better, or else lower the weight of your pictures and use a responsive website just like Card, for example. Because right now, if I have to click and wait for 10 seconds for every piece to open, despite having fiber optics, life is too short. And it is going to add friction in your portfolio user experience. It's going to shoot, to give them an argument to disqualify you, while it's such a bummer to be disqualified just because it takes time to load. So that's one thing you can correct. Rendering is nice. I like the style. I don't really know how you do it, if it's a mix of photos, painting. It looks like some photos with filters on top. Anyway, it looks okay. It's just that I don't really understand what is happening there. It's only now that I discovered that there is a corpse with those fungi things. It was not very clear before. I would like you to highlight it better. I was attracted by the plants right there, and then it's only now that I'm discovering the corpse. I think it's a bit abstract. That's the problem. It's a bit abstract and crystalline. It feels a bit alien. And if it's too alien, it's going to be very hard for people to fully understand what they are seeing. It's like, yeah, it's some trees, weird colors, some crystals. You need to keep it a bit more grounded overall. That house, already I can understand it a bit better. It feels a bit like a 3D base that has been filtered. I will push it a bit more. And right there, I will break this kind of perfect aspect. It's too clean. I want you to tell me what is specific about each of this house. Think about it like a selling point. Why should I care about that house? What is it special that makes that house interesting, even if it's a sketch? Yeah, the colors, I think, would need to be a tad more realistic. Right now, it's a bit washed out and psyche overall, psychedelic. You would need to be a bit more realistic. I know this is work for production, so it was the art direction, and I'm totally okay with that. It's just thinking about Lian, CDPR, they are very washed out. You look at Jane Katsubo. Look at her work on Baldur's Gate. This is extremely natural colors. Very earthy. Natural dyes. You will need to adopt that color palette and that style overall. Not just Jane Katsubo. There are plenty for the artists, but it's the senior concept artist. So it's a good reference. I like the style for those stylized things. Again, it's taking forever to load. Another director will not tolerate that. This one is nice. I like it. It's a tad more realistic. You're telling the story right there. This is nice. It's just that because it's part of a product, I don't have the full context surrounding it. So based off what I said before, all the feedback I gave to other people today and what we gave to Dave last week, I think it's pretty obvious about the story thing. I don't really have to repeat myself. Sorry about the slowness. No, don't worry. Don't have to be slow. That's fine. And again, I don't mean that like I'm angry or whatever. I'm never angry reviewing work. I'm not judging anything. It's I'm just putting myself in the shoes of a reviewer. And guess so I know what it is to be a reviewer. It's because when I was an art director at a super small startup, nobody knew about us. We had like less than 500 followers on Twitter. It was a small startup. Every time we were posting a job offer on LinkedIn for an artist, in 1 or 2 days, we were receiving 150 applications. Well, we were absolutely nobody. And I had to review that, and I don't have the time. And most art directors, they don't have the time. You can score so much point by giving a good user experience to the reviewer, making their life easier. Technically, all they'll have to do is click on a link and scroll. No click to enlarge, no loading time, no effect, no choice, no nothing. You control what they see. It's going to be so much more smoother. You know how to do it for something somewhat stylized. So you will have to jump a bit in terms of realistic rendering, I think. And also think about designing projects for games like Lian is doing, like CRPG. Or third-person RPG for The Witcher. Right now it feels more like either a first-person shooter or a third-person narrative game. I might be wrong. But you get the vibe, you know, to tell a story. So it's just about realistic rendering. And honestly, something like that is pretty good. That style, it's pretty close. It kind of reminds me of what Dontnod is doing for like Life is Strange and such. Honestly, on a website, Full HD. 1920 by 1080. You don't need more. 2K max. 2.5K max. You don't need more. You don't need 8K resolution pictures. Nobody's going to zoom on them. An art director is going to open your stuff and do that. And at the end of the scoring, they're going to make a decision. They are barely going to zoom on the things. If they zoom on something, if they click to enlarge something, that's a good sign. Or rather than clicking to enlarge, if they stop like this, they take a bit of time to look at it, that's a good sign. So yeah, it will be about realistic rendering. Oh, you work at Boulder Media? Nice. Very good. You know how to do it. Those drawings are beautiful, by the way. Especially this one is beautiful. Love it. Even something like that, you just push the rendering a bit more. Make it a bit more watercolor-ish, just like something like that. You can go pretty far already. Kind of reminds me of what Gary is doing. I'm pretty sure you could do something like that. You see, it's very watercolor-ish. So it's really about reassessing your style and the content of your portfolio and making sure it kind of matches a bit more. Gary is targeting Lian too. Got in touch with them already. And in 1 week, I'm being his cheerleader as he's applying to them at kind of art. So yeah, user experience, reassessing the style a bit in terms of technique and the way you are crafting your scene, you know to do it. Even the iterations right there, I will push the detail a bit more, have a bit more of the small elements already. You know, what are the main selling points? But pretty good. Again, that would be something fully mentorship ready, way above the required level. Very good. So yeah. If you've not watched the previous reviews of the others, go watch them. It's going to bring you additional bits of infos. But in terms of technique, it's good. It's just the content, the style, and the main selling points and again, the content overall that needs to be more appropriate for what the companies you are aiming at are doing. That's pretty much it. Relevancy overall. And the user experience. Whew. All right. Let's move to a bit of questions. I'm going to stay for like 20-ish minutes, something like that. You're welcome, Céline. So let me check out OBS. I forgot to record, so I'm going to have to download the low quality stream. That's fine. Let me show up my face. Let me switch on the light and let's have a few questions. So, I'll put that right there and let me just have the chat somewhere. So it's kind of recorded. What are your thoughts on sending Google Drive links? Don't. Because for security reasons, most people will not open them. As simple as that. There are too many scams involving Google Links files. So for security reasons, most companies will not open them. And again, you're going to land on some folders that you will have to download. It's a terrible user experience. Make it as smooth as possible. Send one link, you click on it, you have the work, you just have to scroll. It can be ArtStation, it can be a website. Do it this way. As simple as that. How many PCs will be needed for a junior? I said between 15 and 20. That's a good number. And again, it's just an average. Some people get hired with 3, some people get hired with 50. It's just an average. Action Gamer, can you stop crying in the chat, please? There's some politics going on in jobs. Yes, some offices have politics. Wear a mask. Or if it's unbearable, don't go at that company. Will this be recorded and posted on YouTube? Yes. No worries. Portfolio reviews, no problem to keep them on YouTube. It's just when I'm spilling the beans from things from the mentorship, I'm avoiding letting them available online. My prof recommended me dropping piece to lower DPI for website. Yeah, that's what I was saying, like full HD, 2.5K. That's fine. That's fine. Here we go. Welcome. For concept art, our other website preferred, ArtStation. ArtStation is fine. Let me show you. Let me show you an example from Alex. Alex is sending that link to that. All you have to do is scroll. There's written portfolio, so you know it's a portfolio and you know the rest is potentially old. You cannot be simpler than that. That's the smoothest experience you can get. Let me reduce my face. Let me put it back. Whatever. You see, all you have to do is scroll. That's a good example of a portfolio, in my opinion. How many pictures do we have? 1, 2, 3, doesn't count. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 24, 24, and we could stop like that. How many Polish pieces are there? 1. Let's count it as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 25%. Do you often recommending shooting for indie game companies AA of the caliber of Supergiant, Red Hook, Ludion? The problem with those indie studios is that sometimes they are not hiring at all, but it costs nothing to send a cold application, something like that, if your work is targeted. If it has nothing in common with what they do not waste their time. If your work is relevant and targeted towards them, why not? And again, to find companies that you can target, make sure they hire people of your level. So in these indie companies like that, they will rarely be in your main choice because they rarely hire. But if the main companies you have that are compatible with what you do and are actually hiring are similar and your work is similar, why not throwing a bottle at the ocean? Why not? I skipped a few. Again, I cannot review every one. I'm picking the ones that I deem interesting. And by that, I mean no disrespect to the order. It's just that we can have a great discussion around it. Sometimes it's just, technique is not good enough. There's not that much I can say about that. So I want to have like a deeper type of discussion surrounding the work we see. But if I explicitly told about someone, we don't have the context or all of that, repost. Just repost. How to reach out to company as an artist based on poor country? I answer to that. Online presence. An extremely relevant portfolio, and you need to target companies that are hiring freelancers. So you get a bit of line on the resume, and eventually your work becomes so good that companies are willing to pay for you to move, or are trusting you enough to move remotely. You look at Leo Avro, living in Indonesia, which is as far as you can get from the hotspot of the industry, working for One Pixel Brush because Shadi trusts him with his life. Is it better to send a link from a product than a homepage of a portfolio? You have two options. What I advise you is do not send your ArtStation profile like that because you give them choice and you have old work. You can create an album and send the link to that album like that. Or else the link to one project where your full portfolio is into. That is, strangely enough, part of that portfolio album. Right there, you give them the choice. Imagine if they start with something that is super old, like 10 years old, and they disqualify you based on that. They don't have the context. And even on ArtStation, they rarely see that. Sometimes this thing does not even appear. So you want to ease their life. Put yourself in the shoes of a reviewer. Ask yourself, if I was busy reviewing 150 applications in 3 hours, what would piss me off? Do not do that. It's as simple as that. How many days professional artists take to complete one piece portfolio? I mean, professional work is going to be a package. And for something similar to what I shared for a full package, just like the work of Gael, expect around 150 hours worth of work, not just for the final picture, but also for the design before. That's like 4 weeks full time. Just the full picture is like 2 days. Nobody gives a shit. Making fancy picture is the easiest thing you can do. Because either you already have the full design before, so you just have to press render in 3D and paint over, which is super easy. Or else you are not designing anything at all, you're just making something fancy. So it's very easy, just rendering stuff. The design is what takes time, and that's what you are paid for. In terms of mental side of job, especially with aspiring artists, what would be a good way to deal with seeing better artists to go for studios you want to shoot for? Do not care about your competition, only care about how you can serve that company better. It's as simple as that. You spending time looking at the concurrents, you can do there's nothing you can do about your concurrents. The only thing you can do is how do I become better than the concurrents? You cannot prevent the concurrents from applying. You just need to be better than them. And trust me, you will see that in 2 weeks when I'm making my presentation. It is so freaking easy to stand out today. I'm not saying to get a job because the industry is in a rough spot at the moment. It's going to be better in a few months, hopefully. But to stand out positively, it's so easy. Because again, the 3 questions I have right there, let me put them in big bold. Those 3 questions right there. Can the 3D team model your content without having to guess? 95+% of portfolios do not even pass that question. So that quote unquote concurrence that you have, it's not even your concurrence because they cannot even pass that first question. They will be disqualified immediately. So what that concurrence is actually doing, and this is me being extremely Machiavellian right now, is that because they are pissing off the reviewers so much, it helps you stand out. Let me show you a little snippet from my kind of art presentation. Let me show you a little snippet. Not that one. Where is it? Here we go. Give me a sec. Oh shit, another one. That's what most art directors tell themselves. Oh no, another Last of Us 2 fan art. Another person who doesn't understand how production work. Another pack of famous kit-bashed assets that we have seen a gazillion time already. Another Sekiro trend. Another Wukong fan art because it's the trend at the moment. Another wannabe Terraform Studio copycat who does not understand what they do. Another student work. Oh no, another one. This is what is happening with most artists today. They follow the trend, they do what everything else is doing, and they are like, I'm going to stand out so much with my artworks. Look at ArtStation, everyone is doing the same thing. How can you possibly stand out when your work is commoditized like that? It's just a simple rule of supply and demand. If your work looks like a clone of everyone else, first of all, you won't get a job, and even if you can, you are easy to replace. You're racing to the bottom by doing that. Because nobody today on ArtStation, and I showed that during my first live ever, Everyone chase the likes on ArtStation, the fancy picture, and not the production work. That's the reaction of a recruiter when you have a production-oriented work. Do you understand what is required in production for the 3D modelers and what they need? Can you design things and solve problems? Can you bring fresh and prospective ideas to the table that are relevant to what they do? That's how you deal with better artists. You realize that most of them, they are not your competition. They would not get hired anyways. That's super sad for them. But actually, they help you stand out if you do the right things. And it's so freaking easy to do the right things. Just that nobody is doing that. Fengzu has been talking about that for ages. Nobody listened. The few that listened, they are so busy with work that you don't see them on ArtStation. As simple as that. I'm kind of baffled because as artists, our job is literally to recognize patterns visually, but we are absolutely unable to do that outside of art. What is the pattern? Everyone is doing this type of picture, like the keyframes, the splash out wannabe and all of that. Are any of them getting a job? Nope. That's another pattern you can recognize. Conclusion, if that pattern plus that pattern equals bad result, why would that be different for me? New pattern, let's do the opposite. Is it possible to get hired? Do you think, okay, catch up. How is it possible to find out if companies are hiring at any given level? Simple. You search for a company's artist. I'm going to show that in 2 weeks, actually, but I'm spoiling it a bit. You search for the work of the artist working there. You check on their LinkedIn when they got hired at that company. If they got hired with less than 3 years of experience before, consider the company is hiring juniors. And that it's accessible even with zero experience. You compensate lack of experience with a proper portfolio that shows you understand what is required in production. No company, especially right now, we make a job offer with zero experience needed. Because if they do that, they get all the amateurs in the world, they get 10,000 applications to review, and they're going to waste time. They put 3 years of experience required as a filtering system, otherwise it will open the floodgate. With those 3 years of experience, they have 2 types of candidates they do. 3, actually. 3, number 3, some that are badly filtered will apply anyways and are out of touch. It's inevitable. Second, people with actually 3 years of experience. Good. They understand what is required. Or else, people that are bold enough and confident enough to apply anyways. And those you got a chance. If your work is properly targeted. Do you think a company's office in person will make any difference? If so, how would you do it? Actually, as a junior, it's heavily recommended to be in the office. Remote work is not that much of a thing now, especially after the crash. Unless we get a second pandemic event lockdown, I'm not seeing remote work being the norm again. It was for a certain time, but with the crash and the company shrinking at the moment, they want you back at the office to better monitor you. And actually, as a junior, you will get way more experience in an office with someone that can manage you and help you than alone. And companies know that hiring a junior is a risk. They don't want to take risk. They want to be able to manage you and monitor what you do. So for those living in third world countries, you have to bypass that by stellar work and companies hiring freelancers. That's the only case where I would recommend that. If you are living in Europe, in the US, in Canada, get in an office. You have that privilege. Is it possible to get hired as a junior concept artist in-house from overseas? Yes, but as a freelancer. They will rarely give visa sponsorship to a junior unless you have stellar work. Absolutely stellar work. It's possible. You always have some exceptions, but you need stellar work to get visa sponsorship as a junior. But being hired as a freelancer, yeah, doable. I answered how many days it took professional artists. You are asking the same questions over and over again. I explained how much time it was taking to make a chapter with like 8 to 12 pictures. You just double that. When applying for the mentorship, how do we discern if your problem is technique or lack of concept? We're going to discuss about that in a call if you get allowed in a call. I only get people in a call that I believe can make it to the not just to the mentorship but also to the industry. If there is something that is blatantly lacking that I don't think will be teachable in a timely manner during the mentorship, I'm going to give you. I'm going to turn off the application and give you a few resources to close that gap. How do you get experience with getting a job? Answer that question by proving you understand what is required at job. When you get a job in the industry, how fast do you need to complete the task so that you become irreplaceable? As a junior, it's going to be tough to become irreplaceable at the beginning because you have to learn. But as a junior, also, you're going to bring fresh and prospective tools and techniques to the table generally. You're going to bring plugins, techniques that you are bringing fresh blood to the team. Share your stuff, become a problem solver. And once you are autonomous and you know that the 3D team can rely on you to model stuff, they will start recommending you as someone irreplaceable. And for that, you need to really make sure in your work that you solve the headache of the 3D team and the art director. Any other questions? Sorry for the barking. I don't like repeating myself, especially when we just explained that 5 minutes ago. To the artist is making sprites, UI, backgrounds. Concept artist is making design. Problem solving. To have a reference work for exceptional junior work should be hired in a forward country. The mentees portfolio are a good reference. Pick Gael, pick Alex, pick Jess for character design. That's a good metric. And 5 more minutes for some additional questions. Don't be shy. You're welcome, Matteo. Can design skill cover the gap of rendering skill enough to get you hired as a junior? Yeah. Yep. No problem. You don't need crazy rendering skills. We saw that in some portfolio today. You don't need crazy rendering skills. It's completely overrated. Do you recommend books for character design? Yes. It's going to surprise you. Carl Jung Archetypes. I recommend that book by Carl Jung, The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious. Super good. Super duper good for character design. King, Lover, Magician, Warrior. This book by Robert Moore and Douglas Gillette, this is like the direct following of Carl Jung. It's been written in the 19s or 80s, so it's not up to today's standards regarding gender and identity, but anyone with brain cells correctly functioning can transpose that to today's standard easily. This is the Bible of character design, in my opinion. Again, see that as a manual about archetypes. I need to make a full stream about that book. This book is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Where do you recommend to get reference photos? Google, and you exclude pictures before 2021. And there is also Yandex. It's a Russian browser. Yandex is very, very good. The Yandex browser. Chrome probably is banning that. Let me try on Safari. You search for picture, let's say medieval castle. Let's say medieval castle, France. The pictures that you get on Yandex are incredible. They are so different than what you have on Google. And Pinterest, if you find good boards without AI, the algorithm is going to pick up that you don't want AI. But I really like Yandex personally. And books and documentaries are very good for references too. Any other questions? Would it be a good idea if your portfolio is filled with 100% design exploration only? No, because you need to prove you can render polished stuff sometimes and that you can render materials. So it's a nice balance that represents the amount of time that each activity is going to be at work. Render stuff is going to be like 15 to 20% of your time at best. Design is going to be the rest, so 80%. So it's important that your portfolio follows that ratio to show you understand what is expected from you at work. It's not that polished pictures are bad, and that design is better, is that both needs to be together. Compare that like a box of Legos. Let's say the polished picture is the fancy picture you have on top of the Lego box, and the design, the iterations, the call-out sheets that you have inside, it's the bricks and the manual. If you have the bricks and the manual but not the polished picture, you can still make the thing. If you just have the polished picture and you miss either the bricks or the manual, good luck. That's how you need to see it. And ideally, you want the three of them to have the full box to retain the full value of the thing. Any final question? No problem, double A. Yeah, there's a big delay. I'm going to try to solve that delay when streaming. Is it okay to add expression sheet in character design portfolio? Yes. Yes. Is it valid to include things that may not be in your forte, but just to show you are capable of it? You are only as good as your worst pieces. So if you are good at character, but absolute dog shit at environment design, don't put environment design. In an ideal world, yeah, you would be equally as good for both. And you will put a bit of both. You probably still one more special, one that is more of a specialty. But you will not be shy from sharing the other one to prove you can still help out on that. But if one of them is good and the other one is very bad, do not put the very bad one. It's up to everyone to be honest with their skills. Just pick your work, pick the work of the pros working there, compare it, and ask yourself, is it good enough? If one of your specialty is not good enough, that's a risk. And you give an ammunition to the reviewer to disqualify you.